Language is constantly evolving, and sometimes phrases get misinterpreted or twisted over time. Many common phrases are used incorrectly, but their humorous misuse makes them part of everyday speech. Here are the top 10 funniest misunderstood phrases that people still use today. 1. For all intensive purposes, correct. For all intents and purposes. This misheard phrase is commonly used in place of the correct version. While it sounds serious, intensive purposes doesn't make much sense, and it leads to plenty of confusion. 2. Nip it in the butt, correct. Nip it in the bud. The idea of stopping a problem before it blooms comes from gardening, where you nip the flower bud. But many people mistakenly say but, which sounds a lot funnier than the original expression. 3. I could care less, correct. I couldn't care less. This is a classic example of a misunderstood phrase. The correct phrase, I couldn't care less, means you care so little that you can't care less. The incorrect version implies that you actually do care, making it the opposite of what's intended. 4. On accident, correct. By accident. This phrase has slipped into common usage, especially among younger generations. While on accident sounds reasonable, the correct form is by accident, as in by chance. 5. One in the same, correct. One and the same. People often use this phrase to describe two things that are identical, but the correct phrase is one and the same, emphasizing their unity. One in the same just leaves people scratching their heads. 6. Moot point, correct. Moot point. A moot point is an issue that's no longer relevant, but many people mistakenly say mute point, which amusingly suggests the point is silent, making it even less important. 7. A scapegoat, correct. Scapegoat, the correct term, scapegoat, refers to someone blamed for the mistakes of others. But many people say a scapegoat, conjuring images of a literal goat on the run, which makes for a funny mental picture. 8. Case in point, correct. Case in point. This phrase is meant to provide an example or prove a point, but saying case in point adds unnecessary confusion. The correct version ties the example back to the case being made. 9. Dog-eat-dog world, correct. Dog-eat-dog world. The correct phrase describes a competitive, ruthless environment. However, many people say dog-eat-dog world, which sounds much cuter, but entirely misses the fierce nature of the original phrase. 10. Chomping at the bit, correct. Champing at the bit. This phrase comes from horse riding, where a horse choms or bites at the bit due to impatience. Over time, it's evolved into chomping, which has become widely accepted, though technically incorrect. In conclusion, misunderstood phrases add a layer of humor to everyday conversations. While the original meanings may be lost, the way these phrases have morphed over time makes them both charming and amusing to use.